Oh, Nazar, I'm glad you're here. If we ever have anyone new to our calls, Nazar, shoot me an email or a text or something.
Okay.
On the calls, as we're going through these. I always like to kind of recognize people, or these calls get pretty big. So,
yeah.
All right, kids. So today we're going to piggyback what we started going over last time, which was those 4 steps to handling an objection. And the buyer, if you remembered, Ryan, they were going to wait till next year. And I gave you 4 steps on how to deconstruct that objection, right? And peel back the onion to get the appointment pretty easily. So if we have time, we'll go back over the 4 steps. But I'm going to give you today 15 reasons, Rochelle, on why a seller may consider listing with you now versus waiting until next year. Because you will definitely start to get that objection. And for a number of reasons, it may not be in their best interest to wait. So we're going to educate them, just like we did with the buyer, Ryan, give them a few facts, and then let them decide if they still want to wait, or after you educate them, they're going to realize it might behoove them to start the process a little bit sooner. So we'll start with Ryan. I have literally 15 reasons on my list here on why I would tell a seller they should work with us a little bit sooner. Give me one of the reasons why you think, Ryan, you would advise a seller to start sooner than waiting until next year.
You never know what's going to happen. And right now, prices are high.
Yes. So that's number 13 on my list. And guys, it's certainty. You guys can look at your days on market, look at the demand, look at the competition, see what's out there, and tell your seller with some pretty good certainty, Ryan, about how long it'll take and about how much they'll get for their house within some reasonable margins. Can anyone tell me exactly what's going to happen next year? Yeah, don't even try. Nobody knows. I mean, I'm looking at the patterns, Ryan, of my other teams and their production over the last 3 years, where normally it always followed some kind of similar pattern. The last 3 years, it looks like there's lines going up and going down, it goes sideways. There is no pattern. So yeah, it's a crapshoot. So that's an excellent one, Ryan. I would definitely stick to that because no one knows what's going to happen. All right, next, let's go with Rochelle. Seller's thinking about waiting, Rochelle, but you know what? I don't know if that's the best advice.
I would say right now there are serious buyers that need to buy. So
yes,
why,
that's a big one.
Competition at the beginning of the year or next year.
Yes. So the way we're going to do that, Rochelle, just to show you how to use the information, you nailed it. Matter of fact, I would tell you it's probably one of the best ones out there because I'm going to explain to you there's a few different actual groups. So first it's buyers, right? So Rochelle, it's always questions, by the way. You don't tell the seller anything. You ask them questions and they self-discover. So Rochelle, I understand you're thinking about maybe putting a house on the market now or maybe in the spring, correct?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be better for the spring. That's what I've always heard.
Yeah, I've heard the same many times. May I share with you recently, though, Rochelle, what I've heard from a few other sellers?
Sure.
They'd actually put their house on the market a little bit sooner, like here in the fourth quarter versus waiting until next year. And we're happily surprised they actually get a better outcome. Can I share with you why they got a better outcome, Rochelle?
Yes.
They had shared with me the buyers that they were working with were a lot more motivated than buyers they'd worked with selling some of their previous homes. As it turns out, the buyers that come out in November and December, Rochelle, we've learned are the most motivated buyers because they're the ones that would not like to buy a house. Rochelle, we find out those are the ones that have to buy a house. Then in the springtime, we get some looky-loos and tire kickers, we call them back at the office. People that just love HGTV and looking at houses, but they're not buying anything. If there's someone setting an appointment with us now, Rochelle, they're usually extremely serious about buying a house. Rochelle, you think someone who has to buy a house is going to negotiate a little bit harder or not quite as hard if they have to buy the house?
They will negotiate harder to get the deal, to get the property.
just to get it done.
Yeah.
You think they'll ask for more credits and more repairs to prolong the negotiation, or you think they'll be looking to settle and get this thing closed more quickly?
If they want to get it quickly, then I would say that they won't ask for as much repairs and would try to
yeah,
and that's possible.
And that's been my experience, Rochelle, over the last 18 years. If you do choose to bring your house to the market, you're going to have the most motivated buyers that you've ever seen making offers on your homes and looking to move the process along quickly. Upon research, I learned that there are particularly 2 or 3 groups. Anyone know who these groups are? There are 2 or 3 groups of extremely highly motivated buyers that only come out around this time of the year.
Investors.
Investors. People know what I'm hearing a lot from my other clients, Nazar? 1031 exchange, right? People want to do those 1031 exchanges by the end of the year to preserve their taxes. So yeah, a lot of my clients, they make a lot of money. So when they go to their tax preparer around this time of the year, Rochelle, they find out if they don't buy something, they're going to have to pay Uncle Sam a lot of money. Last year, Rochelle, not even funny, like this is true, how my clients don't like to pay taxes. One of them decided it would be prudent to buy a bulldozer to avoid some taxes, and the other one bought an airplane. They really don't like paying taxes. They would much rather buy houses from you. So that's number 1. Anyone know number 2? What do you guys think corporate America is doing right now in their offices? It's the same thing you guys are doing. Business planning for next year. And they're deciding right now which stores need more employees, which place they want to open up a new branch, or maybe they want to expand another department somewhere. And guess what they do, Rochelle?
Okay.
Companies move more of their employees around through corporate relocation in Q4 and a little bit in early Q1 because they've got their business planning all done and they need to accomplish their goals next year. Rochelle, do you know what a stop loss guarantee is?
A stop loss guarantee? No, I don't.
So you guys know I did a lot of corporate relocation for a good 15 years. So I know their contracts pretty well. So one of the clauses in many of their contracts, Rochelle, in the transferee, the buyers, is a stop loss guarantee. Here's what I've learned that meant. If they overpay a little bit for the house they're going to buy from you today, Rochelle, and their company says, hey, we need you to move to the East Coast and fix the problem there, and they sell their house next year or 2 years from now, Rochelle, and the home does not sell, they don't get an offer for as much as they paid for it here this week, the company will pay the difference. So they will never lose money as long as they're being transferred within that company. So Rochelle, if you know you couldn't lose money, do you think you negotiate really, really hard to get the lowest possible price, knowing you could never lose money on this purchase? Nope.
No, I would. Yeah, I wouldn't do
that. They don't. And there's a whole bunch of other perks, which I don't have time to get into on the call. But these are your best buyers as far as being easy to work with, Rochelle, as a seller. Rochelle, do you want to wait until the spring, until all these buyers buy your neighbors' homes and give them top dollar?
No. Literally, I don't.
No, right? I'll give you another one, Rochelle. The military also, in a very similar fashion, does a lot of personnel moving now as well. And again, those people have to move, not necessarily may not want to, but if they do, they're buyers and they've got to land somewhere. Maybe it's in your neighborhood. So we got investors, relocation, and military, 3 of the most motivated, serious buyers, easy to work with that you're ever going to get. And they come out now. Excellent on there. Alicia, what's another answer? Why else should a seller put their house on the market now versus waiting until next year?
The market has been kind of at a steady pace at the moment. So to get them the top dollar, it's most likely for now. So now.
Good, because Alicia, you're telling me it's impossible to predict the top and the bottom of the real estate market, like the exact day is the highest price homes we're selling at? Is it, you're telling me it's impossible to predict that day, but we're somewhere close to that period right now?
We're having a level out. It's just kind of starting to calm.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if you guys look at what happened in the early spring or late spring, yeah, I guess, what was it? Probably mid-spring, early summer of this year, Alicia. We hit a peak. Housing prices, if you guys look, actually, boop, and they've actually settled a little bit since then. They've come down a little bit. Next year, is there going to be more settling? Maybe. Alicia, are interest rates going up?
Yes, they are.
What does that do to the size of our buyer pool? As interest rates go up, what happens to the size or the number of buyers that can afford to buy a house? It gets smaller. So potentially, I don't know where the markets are going, Alicia, but it makes sense to me. If interest rates go up, less buyers, could your home's value settle down even a little bit more? That definitely is logical. Not sure, but I would definitely educate my seller on that, because that's a definite possible scenario, that especially if they go up significantly in a short period of time. Absolutely, we'll lose a lot of buyers. Excellent on there. Great job. Jenny.
Hi.
Hi, Jenny. Tell me about what you're going to advise, why you're going to advise your seller they might get a better outcome by listing with you today versus sometime next year.
Well, today we have more buyer out there looking to buy, and the house in the market are shorter.
That's what I wanted you to say. So write this down, guys. So what Jenny is talking about is competition. Hey, Jenny, you think you'd get a better outcome? Always through questions, guys, right? I never tell anything. I ask questions. Jenny, you think you get a better outcome selling your house, meaning maybe a better price and better terms, if you had to compete against a lot more of your neighbors or a lot less of your neighbors?
A lot less of your neighbor.
All right. Less competition gives you a lot more leverage, correct?
Yes.
So putting your house on the market now, when we probably have some of the lowest inventory levels that we have any time of the year, right, will get you a much bigger advantage of selling your home. Also, Jenny, I want to point out something else that you may or may not know about real estate. Jenny, do you know there's a weird phenomenon that happens in real estate, that whenever a homeowner decides to put their house on the market, something else happens on the block or within the immediate neighborhood? Do you know what that is?
Other neighbor want to sell too, I guess.
Always, Jenny, whenever a house comes to the market, 2 more neighbors within the next 30 days will almost always put their house on the market. It's kind of like Jenny listed her home and they were thinking about it and they said, oh, this must be the right time. So Jenny, I have to ask you, would you rather be the first home to list on your block, or would you rather be the third house to put their house on the market?
The first home then.
Yeah. Less competition again, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. So very true, guys, right? You're going to have the most motivated buyers, and now your seller is going to have a lot less competition. Those buyers have a lot less options. And I told you, a lot of them have to buy. They don't want to buy. They have to buy. You negotiating a deal for a seller, you've got enormous leverage. You will look like a hero in this environment on there. Excellent, Jenny. You nailed it. Someone give me another one. Maggie.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Oh, no apologies. Hi, how are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm doing well. I want to ask you a question. Do you think buyers make decisions to purchase more emotionally or logically initially?
Yes, I think.
Which one? More emotionally or more logically initially?
I think more emotionally.
Yeah, correct. So Maggie, can I ask you another question?
Okay.
If your seller's home was beautifully decorated for the holidays, whatever holidays they celebrate, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, whatever the holiday, you think that would make a home more or less emotionally appealing?
Thanksgiving. Yes, this time it's at home. It's a good time.
A lot more emotional. Matter of fact, your house will never be more emotionally appealing than when it's decorated.
Yeah, for the buyer.
For the buyers, right.
Yeah.
So again, the more your buyer falls in love with your home emotionally, the more they're going to want to buy it, the more they're going to want to pay you, the faster they're going to move along. So you have this other huge advantage where your house looks beautiful. It may smell even better than usual because you have some candles, you're doing baking, cooking in the house during the holidays. So yes, your house is the most emotionally appealing this next couple of months here as well, which is also great when there's less competition and very motivated buyers. You can actually stack a few of these on top of each other, Maggie, to really get your seller an amazing result. Also, Maggie, because it's the holidays, it feels okay, not like you're being difficult. If you want to restrict showings, because you might have family over, you might be having some company. Like, for example, my son is coming with his girlfriend. We've never met for next week for a few days. So if I had my house on the market, I wouldn't want to bother her. So we wouldn't show for a couple of days. It's a lot easier to pull off during this time of the year as holidays are here and people do travel and come to other people's homes. Also, Maggie, because of it's near the end of the year, we can lock up a buyer now, meaning get them sign a contract and have an extended close date, because maybe you promised your family you're going to spend the holidays in this house one more time. So that's something, again, you could get an extended occupancy date right now, especially with low inventory. It gives you more leverage. This will make everything working with your seller easier, Maggie, which makes you look, again, like a hero. Next one, we spoke about, Ryan, these interest rates going up. And we mentioned the buyer pool is going to get smaller. So even the buyers that can still afford to buy, Ryan, do you guys know every 1% interest rates go up, your buyers lose about 10% of their buying power. So even though we'll have buyers next year to buy your house, Ryan, there's a good chance a bunch of them can't afford your house anymore because of the increase. So demand could go down as well. Besides buyer pool smaller, existing buyers, less buying power, as much as maybe 10%, which can be fairly significant. Next, you have a small window for this, but if you got a motivated seller, Ryan, there's still a chance you can get a buyer in there for the holidays. Maybe they want to spend the holidays. You get your house on the market this week and do a 30-day close, right? That could be something that would push a buyer to give you better price or terms just to have holidays in this new house, not wait till after the New Year's. As I've learned, I have a couple, Nazar, 2 or 3 of my clients building new houses. And I noticed how important it was. They were pushing the builder to close so they could spend like Christmas in this house this year. And some succeeded and some haven't on there. Any more ideas? I'll piggyback another one that you guys had. We can, with pretty good accuracy right now, Rochelle, sell your house pretty much when it seems to be top of the market, get all your equity out, and then in the springtime, when there's more competition and a lot more options, have you buy and maybe get a better deal in the springtime. When interest rates go up, maybe buyer demand comes down a little bit. Sellers maybe a little more motivated because there's more competition. So another advantage of selling now, motivated buyers, higher price, and maybe a little better opportunity for you next year on there. Excellent. Next one. This time of the year, if you guys didn't know, but you could probably guess, is when people take the most amount of time off of their jobs. So they have the most number of hours to go online and look at homes. They have the number of hours to go tour properties. So again, if you make your seller's home available, you'll have more high quality views and showings from highly motivated buyers. They generally take most of their time off this time of the year. All right, Rochelle. So now let's just pretend you're a potential seller of mine. And I'm educating you, right? I'm going through these all these reasons on why you should choose. And by the way, guys, I'll give you like 15 of these. All I want you to do is pick 2 or 3 of them that you'll use most often. I don't want you downloading 15 reasons. It'll sound a little salesy if you go through all the reasons, right? Pick a couple. And then I'm going to call my seller, Rochelle, right? And I'm going to see where she's at. Hey, Rochelle, just reaching back. I know you said you were going to talk to the family and you were thinking about maybe listing now or waiting until next year. And Rochelle says, you know what? I think we're going to wait until next year. What do? I'm going to use 2 or 3 of these, Rochelle, right? Hey, Rochelle, you know, next year is definitely an option, right? But a lot of my sellers, after I educated them on the amount of serious buyers that we have in the market and less competition, they're thinking about jumping into the market, getting their house on the market sooner to capitalize on this opportunity. And I tried this once with Rochelle, maybe twice. What if Rochelle says, thanks, Mike, I hear what you're saying, but my family, we still want to wait till next year. What do you think I do with this, Rochelle? How do you think I handle this situation?
Well, I think you would ask, you know, maybe why, you know, their reasons why, and then try to, from their reasons, kind of, you know, turn that around, you know, and make it more beneficial for them to do it now and then later. Like,
no, be careful. So remember what I said, I tried once, twice, maybe 3 times. So I don't want to try a 4th time. And here's the reason why. Did I give you guys the Maya Angelou quote last call? No? Anybody remember it? Heather? No? Do you know the quote? All right. So here's a quote. And this gal is famous for it. Heather, people will always forget what you said. People will always forget what you did. People will never forget the way you make them feel or made them feel. So if I keep pushing Rochelle here, how is that going to feel? Am I going to feel a little pushy, maybe a little bit like a car salesman, Rochelle, if I keep on trying to get you to do something you don't want to do after I tried 2 or 3 times? Yes, I will. Yeah,
you can turn the buyer or the seller off.
Yeah, I'm going to turn you off. I don't want to do that. I want to try to educate you, right? This is for everybody, by the way. I want to educate, ask for the business. And for some reason, if Rochelle just is adamant, she's going to wait, I pull back. Because at that point, you're going to start feeling not good about me. So I'm going to pull back and I say, Rochelle, that is definitely an option, as I'm going to be in business for another 10 or 15 years. And whether you list now or next spring, I'm going to be here to help you. But Rochelle, 2 things. This is the exact script I would use to reconnect with Rochelle. That sounds great, Rochelle. Rochelle, you wouldn't be offended if I reached back out right after the holidays to see how things were going, would you?
Oh, no, not at all.
Right. Heather, Rochelle will say yes to that question, meaning no problem at all, every time. Do you know why?
As you asked her, right? You gave her the option, like you can choose.
Yep, I gave her an option. And also, Rochelle just wants to get off the phone with me, Heather. And she knows if she agrees to that, the conversation's over. Yeah, just call me. And it seems so far away. Yeah, call me next year, right? Call me in a few months. Very non-threatening. And now she can continue her day. So I always get permission. So now, Heather, guess what? January 2nd. Hey, Rochelle, I'm just reaching back out to you like you asked me to do. So now it's not interruption marketing to Rochelle. It's permission marketing, which is much easier on there. But there's something else that's super important that I have to teach you guys. Because Rochelle, I lost a bunch of money a couple times, and I never want it to happen to anyone on this call. So Rochelle, we agreed that we're going to reconvene early next year to get your house on the market, correct?
Yes.
What is Rochelle going to be doing a lot of, Heather, over the next month or so that she doesn't do nearly as much of during the rest of the year?
Research. Yeah,
personally. Her personal life. What will change in her personal life? She'll do probably a lot more of these kind of things than she did. She'll do any time during the rest of the year.
Go to parties, go to events.
Parties and events, Heather. Right? She's gonna go to the office party. Maybe if she's in a relationship, it's gonna go to their office party. The kids might have something. The neighborhood, the block, whatever. Right? Go take pictures with Santa somewhere. there's a lot of holiday parties, Heather. So when Michelle goes to these parties, Heather, what do you think she's going to talk about when she goes there? Rochelle is going to talk about the thing that's top of mind. She's selling her house, and she's going to tell everyone at the party, because that's what she's doing. She might be cleaning up her house. She might be staging it, might be looking at houses. So Rochelle, do you think there's anyone else at that party that might have a real estate license or knows someone that might have a real estate license?
Of course, we know at least 3 or 4 agents.
At every party. Do you think someone might say, hey, Rochelle, have you signed anything yet? And if Rochelle says, no, know what I would say? Hey, Rochelle, after the party, why don't I stop by and let me take a look at the house? I can give you some ideas on maybe how to stage it better. And I will steal this listing from you. So here's the pro tip, guys. Whenever I have a seller who definitely wants to sell, but they definitely want to wait till after the holidays, I get them to sign something. Doesn't have to be all your paperwork. Doesn't even have to be the contract. I don't care if it's some kind of agency form or a lead paint form or whatever. Because Rochelle, I'm very ethical. And I'm always going to ask before I ever do anything with a seller, have you signed anything? And if you say, yeah, I signed something with Ryan, I don't remember exactly what it was, me being ethical, I back right off. If you haven't signed anything with Ryan, I'm probably going to pursue this listing opportunity pretty aggressively, especially if I'm not good friends with Ryan. And everyone at the party is going to do the same thing. They're going to offer to take the listing from your seller for cheaper. They get a better result, Rochelle. So please, if you have any appointments in the next month or so, and they're not ready yet, but they definitely said they want to work with you, just have them sign a document or two. They usually don't even remember what the heck they signed, but they remember they signed something. And that will help protect your listing, because Rochelle, when you call her or him on January 2nd, all excited to talk about the listing launch of their new listing, and they say, oh, Rochelle, sorry. We're at this party, and this guy Ryan showed up, and before you know it, we signed something. And it seems like we already put our house on the market without you. That will happen. I promise you, because it's happened to me a few times. So anyway, take that warning and have them sign something. It will definitely help protect an opportunity that you may lose as they tell everyone in the world about their plans to sell their house. And
I've done plenty of sale listings where I'll take a listing in November, December, but it doesn't go live until January 15th or whatever predetermined date. And so people are like, hey, I want to list with you, but the condition is that whatever it is, they're not ready to go until then. Say, great, that's awesome. Go and sign right here. We'll get your home on the market on the 15th. I'll call you on the 4th to confirm when we take pictures, because some people don't want pictures to be taken when they have all their holiday stuff up. And so, because it also makes the listing look dated.
Yeah, hold on. Let me talk about that. So guys, this is real important. Not as much an issue for you guys in California, but when I was on the East Coast, the consumers can tell time very quickly through your pictures. So like when the leaves are changing, if it was fall time and your leaves aren't changing, I don't know why those are, but they pick up as a stale listing, or the same thing here. It's holiday decorations. Now it's the second week of January. It feels like a stale listing like that to them. So yeah, your pictures always have to be time correct. So yeah, keep going.
That's it. So just, a simple way to be able to overcome that condition, because it's really not an objection at that point in time. It's just more of a condition of sale. And you're like, great, that's awesome. Let's put that plan together of exactly when we're going to do what.
Yes. And the only two things I would say, we get everything filled out there in Nazar, and then I say, I'll give you a call. We'll just kind of finalize the actual launch date, and maybe we might want to tweak out this list price if the market changed a little bit over the holidays, but we'll talk about that on the 2nd when I call you. But yeah, perfect, Nazar. But yeah, protect your listings, because man, those homeowners go out and start chatting it up with everyone at these parties. You've got a pretty good opportunity to lose a listing as much as gain one. So, and there you have it, guys. So I gave you a whole bunch. So just use these. Let me just reiterate this, because this came up on another call earlier today. Heather, do you think these are training calls?
Yes.
No. These are information calls, I'm going to tell you. A lot of good information. I work really hard to curate this information for you guys. But the training, Heather, actually applies tomorrow. or the next day when you actually go over the list, or you practice this, or you role play it with another agent on the team or another office or something, right? You got to practice this stuff. It won't stick, because let me give you these 3 statistics, Heather. If you don't do that after the call, you will forget 40% of this within the next hour, 60% by tomorrow, and by my next coaching call, you would have forgotten 90% of what I just said today. Our brains are like sieves that just leaks out. So look at it, train yourself, go over it, get a partner, because this will help you make a lot of money. But if you don't, you will have forgotten almost all of it, and it will have very little value to you guys. So just a little side pro tip. All right, kids, there you go. You got how to protect some buyers, sellers, and how to handle an objection here last couple of weeks. So have at it, practice it, and it will serve you well. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks,
Thank you, Mike.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.